this evening. I just encourage you to go back to that. So tonight, we're going to have a moderated Q&A. There were questions that were submitted by many members of our community, so we're going to hopefully be able to ask a couple of those questions, particularly of the things that are important to you, and I'm going to find a way to move out of the way to allow you to be able to do that, but I want to make sure that I set up what's in store for it tonight. And so I have the pleasure of introducing our moderator for tonight's event, Judy Maggio. Judy is an Emmy Award-winning journalist who established her brand based on trust, accuracy, and how she covered public service. Her work in Austin spans more than 40 years, and she's earned the respect and admiration of her colleagues and the community. She has also hosted ATX Together, a public affairs program on timely local issues, and so she is well equipped to help us manage through this evening. And she's also, as many of you know, a reporter and anchor for many years here in Austin, and so she now runs her own media consulting firm and participates widely in different types of community events similar to this evening. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn this over to Judy to take you through the rest of your evening. Thank you very much, and thank you for coming out again. Oh, I am so sorry. I am T.C. Broadnax, the city manager for the city of Austin, and just blessed to be here and glad to be amongst you tonight, and looking forward to hearing again from the candidates and getting your feedback. Thank you. I apologize for that.
Thank you, Mr. Broadnax. The last time we were together, he was in the hot seat and we were interviewing the two finalists for city manager. Good evening, everyone. We so appreciate you coming out and really caring about this critical position in our community and giving us your time and feedback. I really think that civic engagement is vital to a healthy democracy, so I'm honored to lead this forum this evening. Before we talk with the candidates, just a little bit of background on how we got here. APD has been without a permanent chief since Joe Chacon retired in September. The interim chief, Robin Henderson, did not apply for the job. With our new city manager on board, Austin launched a national search in May. They whittled it down to 32 people, and then city leaders decided on the two finalists they think are best qualified and the best fit for Austin, Texas. And that is Lisa Davis, who you'll hear from first, an assistant police chief for the Cincinnati Police Department, and Jeffrey B. Norman, the police chief at the Milwaukee Police Department. Now, both of these law enforcement leaders will spend a few minutes telling you about themselves, their career, and why they think they are well suited to lead the Austin Police Department. We'll be asking each of them the very same set of questions. As Mr. Broadnax said, these questions were compiled by the city's consulting firm, but they came from all of you. They came from people who wrote it in to Speak Up Austin. We also gave folks the opportunity to come a little bit early and submit questions in person, and I'll be able to ask a couple of those. And we just want to thank everybody who participated. And I want to thank the City Council and the folks at City Hall for caring that the public should have input in this process. So, once again, let me remind you about your handout. It details the two candidates, and also that QR code is very important. That's another way you're going to be making your voices heard, and we want everyone. Great, I'm glad everybody. No QR code?
Oh, it's not separate.
Okay, there is a separate hand. I'm so glad we know this. Thank you. So there's a handout and a separate QR code that I'm assuming is out in the lobby. So please get those. You have until 9 a.m. tomorrow to fill that out. And as I said, make your voice heard. So let's get started. We're going to invite Chief Lisa Davis up to the stage. So glad you're here.
Well, thank you.
And you've experienced a little bit of Austin summer, but it's usually not this cool.
Okay, got it.
So we want you to be prepared.
Right.
The first question, if you were to take this position, what would be your #1 priority? And explain why that is.
Well, first I want to thank everyone for being here. I feel so lucky to be here and humbled to be here. Austin is a fantastic city, and I just feel very fortunate to be here, so I just want you to know that. But as far as the first thing I do, what the first priority would be to start building trust. You need trust to get things done. I need trust to get things done. I need you to trust me. And so how do I do that? How do I get the community trust, the trust from the officers and the professional staff from APD, city administration? How do I do that? Because it's important to get the work done. So when you're looking at what I have to do, I have to look at the data. What's the data showing me about APD? What's it showing me about the crime? How do we engage the community here? All of those things are important in moving forward. So how do I build trust? I start by getting where the community is. I'm not someone that likes to sit in an office. I like to be out where the community is. I like being in community meetings. I like being where they are, and I like being where the police are. I like being in the districts and seeing where they work and how they're working. And I think that does a couple of things. One, it lets them know that I'm present, that I care about what's going on within the organization, and I see the work that they're doing, the hard work they're doing every day. And then the community, they need to see a chief that cares, a chief that's in the community on the ground with them, listening to their concerns, and then engaging, building that engagement. And that's how trust is built. And so that's my first priority, is building that trust and then going from there.
Building the trust with the community and
Absolutely.
the officers.
Yep.
This is a two-part question, the next one, and it's about equity. First part, how do you believe that equity integrates into policing? And then could you provide some strategies of how you have utilized equity in your previous job duties within the organization? So once again, equity and how it integrates into policing, and situations where you've called upon different strategies to make sure equity is front and center in the department.
Well, let me first tell you what equity in policing does not look like, and what it looks like when you do not have a cohesive strategy in your police department. So in the late 90s, early 2000s, we were doing zero tolerance policing in Cincinnati. Those are the community response teams, the CRT. Come work this, get some overtime, go into communities, 30, 40 of us at a time. You go into these communities, you're patting people down, you're looking for guns, you're looking for weapons, arresting some, jaywalking tickets, all of those things that talk about not building trust within a community, that erodes that trust. And these are communities that were vulnerable communities anyway. They were being over-policed, and that's what we were doing. And where did that get us? Having those unstructured, those uncohesive strategies, it got us into a consent decree. And that was a result of a riot, unrest in Cincinnati in April of 2001. 6 days of unrest, and a lot of other things had happened. We had some 14 deaths of unarmed black men in the city that led to this riot. And so all of that culminated from just that lack of trust and going into communities and doing that. And so that is how you certainly do not build equity that way. We came into a collaborative agreement within the city of Cincinnati. The collaborative was one that was never done before and has not been done since. It was a voluntary collaborative, and it involved the police department, the Fraternal Order of Police, the city administration, the Black United Front. We all came together and we agreed on how we were moving this organization forward. We agreed on strategies. We were going to use problem solving to address problems within the city, community policing, engagement, looking at our use of force policies, the way we use K-9. All of those things and all those changes were made. I was at the table for that, and we made those changes. So we were reforming over 20 years ago, looking at chokeholds and all the things that were happening just the last few years, we have not been doing. So that's how you build that equity, is you change the narrative and what that looks like. So from that collaborative and the way that we police changed dramatically, we started building that equity up. And so when you talk about the George Floyd and what happened in George Floyd, what happened here? What happened here with the riots? We didn't have that, because we had built that equity up within the community, and we had that. They knew that we didn't police that way. That's not the way we police. And the only thing we were doing was facilitating a crowd that had the right to demonstrate. That's what we were doing. And so that's what equity looks like. So how do you get that within an organization? You do it by having cohesive policing strategies to address your crimes.